Right, let's kick in with our first guest this evening. You are listening to Heavy at Home. We're here every Monday night from 8 p.m. here on andrewhogue.com, celebrating great Australian heavy music. And this is one band I finally experienced live for the very first time on Saturday night, of course, touring with Voyager, and an absolutely amazing vocal range that was just absolutely jaw-dropping is Sydney's Toehider. We do have Mike Mills, the man behind the mic, on the air with us right now to talk about their latest record, album number 2, What Kind of Creature Am I? And just so much diversity that comes from not only this man's lungs, but just the band's musical, camp as well. G'day, Mike. Welcome to Heavy at Home.
Good to be here. How are you?
Very, very good. And again, it was great to experience the band's music live, obviously being a sort of a newbie to the band's sound, and listening on record definitely takes, it definitely takes you on a ride. But seeing it live certainly just, I guess, really, really refines everything, and you really get to experience just the fun and the emotion that comes from the kind of music you guys make, which seems like you have an absolute blast when you're on stage.
Yeah, definitely. It's what's it's kind of the driving factor, is the fun and the humour and the diversity, and not taking ourselves too seriously. It's kind of a big thing to us. So it's always interesting doing these songs live as well, because it kind of I wouldn't say streamlines the sound, but it certainly does sort of focus it into just a good rock show. So lots of fun. Thanks for coming down too, I must say.
No problem. But like I said, as you say, you have fun, you don't take it too seriously, but the talent is incredibly amazing, and of course serious in the good sense of knowing that you guys have actually worked hard to refine your skills. And again, like I said, your vocals are literally just amazing. I mean, fill us in on your background and just, what your aim is when it comes to writing Toehider music, and is it just a matter of where the voice goes with the songs, or you sort of have ideas on how you want to project your vocals towards certain sections of the band's music?
Well, I think the vocal thing started when I was quite young. I started singing when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, just playing in pub bands and all sorts of things like that. And we never used to have any fallback, the speakers on stage, which enable the musicians to hear each other. We weren't that sophisticated, so I used to had to sing very loudly to try and hear myself, and I guess that's kind of developed from there. The volume and the control, I suppose, is sort of a little bit more internal now. But in terms of songwriting, I think diversity is a big thing. Like, we sort of go for humorous and fun songs and heavy things, and more softer, more acoustic stuff, pop stuff. It's really important to me to keep it quite varied, so you can sort of listen to various tracks depending on your mood at any given day or time. I'm a pretty moody person, and it's a bit of a roller coaster from day to day, so I guess the music reflects that in a way.
Well, as I said, it is a journey because it's very, very eclectic, and as I said, it's your vocals that really, move it around, and you really just don't know where the hell you're going with it, which is all exciting. It keeps you guessing, and that's what I like about, bands that are challenging. I mean, literally when I heard the record, I did scratch my head, but that's a good thing because, you become challenged by stuff. Some bands like to serve up the same, meat and potatoes, and fine if you're into that kind of taste, but I'm always on the hunt for some new menus, and Toehider definitely delivered. Now, there's lots of bands, especially in the Australian scene, that I've spoken to and have seen some great results when it comes to crowdfunding, and I truly believe that definitely is where the future is going, where it comes to, bands releasing records and having the demand from fans. And obviously you guys have had a fantastic result with your, of course, recent crowdfunding to raise money for the record. How do you feel going into something like that at the start when you were considering it as, what are we going to do about raising some bucks? Because as we know, it does cost money to still make music. A lot of people think, oh, everything's free. Yay, that's an illusion. It's still someone has to pay. But, when you decided, what, guys, we've got a pretty loyal following, let's give the crowdfunding option a go. Were you a little bit apprehensive at first about it? Tell us about, how it felt to start with it.
Well, I guess I probably will admit that I was a little bit, I wouldn't say skeptical, but I guess I just was a little bit like, it's a very small band, we weren't sure what sort of response we were going to get. But it certainly did make sense in the sense that it would help me get the album finished and out and sort of into the ears to the public. We just thought we'd try it. We set a realistic goal, and to my surprise, we ended up sort of tripling what we were initially aiming to get, which was amazing. So it really did surprise me how much interest there was in the band. So it's just been, it's blew me away. I'm kind of speechless. I'm still speechless now about the amount of support that people have put into it. So it's all really exciting. I guess the crowdfunding thing is kind of a little bit like you said, it's definitely the way to do it. It's a very definite way. Basically say we need this much to get this album done. If we don't get that, then the album doesn't get done. You don't get to hear it. So I think at the end of the day, it's a bit like if people trust in the artist and know that what they're going to come up with and what they're going to deliver will be of a substantial quality, then I think you can't go wrong. It makes total sense.
Well, let's get into a track now from the latest record. We are chatting with Mike Mills here, frontman for Sydney's Toehider. Of course, they are currently touring in support of their latest record, What Kind of Creature Am I? We'll hear a track now called Whatever Makes You Feel Superior. Then we'll come back, talk a bit about the tour dates and, of course, the next bunch of events that has everything to do with Toehider. This is Heavy at Home. Yeah, it really shows the diversity in the band sound. That was Toehider, and we are chatting with frontman Mike Mills. I must apologise. The band's actually from Melbourne, not Sydney, but their drummer's from Sydney. So I had my wires crossed, of course. I corrected that, and let's move on. The song was called Whatever Makes You Feel Superior. Now, the band, as I've mentioned, are currently touring with, of course, a bunch of bands launching their latest record, What Kind of Creature Am I? We'll check out those dates very, very shortly. But fill us in, I guess, on going into writing certain music for Toehider, because as we touched upon how eclectic your vocals are, do you generally base the music around the vocals, or it's just whatever comes out and then you can just lay on top of it vocally what you think might fit? How does the sort of process work when it comes to writing Toehider music?
I guess it depends on song to song, but generally the title will come first, and then the the chorus melody, I suppose, maybe the riffs. I guess most of it I try to center around the vocal thing. I used to go crazy with putting solos at every opportunity, but now I'm sort of more interested in doing big Queen style harmonies here and there, and I kind of go nuts sometimes with putting as many vocal tracks as I can on things. So I guess you're right. It's a good point. It is very much a vocally driven sound.
Well, as you mentioned about the sort of Queen inspiration there, it definitely is obvious. What do you think at the moment of the sort of Queen reunion, well, kind of reunion? I mean, would you want to have a crack at it like Adam Lambert? Well, I actually haven't heard anything that they've been doing with Adam. To me, it's a little bit unfortunate. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think you've only really got two members of the original thing, of which Freddie was such a big thing, part of the Queen thing. So without him, I don't really feel comfortable calling it Queen, to tell you the truth. I mean, it'd be great to go and see Brian May play guitar. He's always just been a huge inspiration to me. But yeah, it's kind of once again one of those sad moments where one of these bands that you've grew up listening to, there's such a big inspiration, sort of dragging their name through the mud a little bit, which is unfortunate. Some people need to pay some bills, I guess. Who knows? It's very interesting, though. I mean, I've been told that tickets are absolutely through the roof when it comes to, depending on where you want to sit. It's a debatable one. I mean, some people just want to get a little bit closer to what they once had and be nostalgic in some certain way. But anyway, be curious to get your opinion if you get a chance down the track to listen to it. Anyway, but let's talk about those tour dates. Of course, you finished a bunch of shows on the weekend, but your next show is in Sydney on the 25th at the Bald-Faced Stag in Sydney with another great band, Anubis. We'll try and squeeze in more music from their latest album as well. And then, of course, back to Melbourne at the Heavy Fest on the 2nd of August at the Tote. And when it comes to, Toehider getting out there and playing with bands, and again with such an eclectic sound. You know, do you guys have the attitude of we'll just sort of play with any sort of band, or you sort of tend to stick with more progressive bands? I mean, you know, who would you like to play with as far as in the scene?
Well, yeah, I think that's a definite strength we can sort of get away with so much material that we've done. I wrote and recorded 12 EPs in 12 months back in 2009 into 2010, which was, again, further exploring varying styles and genres and sounds and stuff. So there's certainly a lot of stuff that we can bring to the stage. So, yeah, I think we're fortunate in the sense that we can play gigs like what we've just done in Brisbane and Melbourne with Voyager and Caligula's Horse. And like you say, we're at 25th of July at the Bald-Faced Stag with Anubis, who are much more of a sort of Pink Floyd style progressive rock, so very much of a 70s kind of vibe with those guys. And then, yeah, we're doing the Brutality Heavy Fest at the Tote with Barbarian and Psychroptic and stuff like that. So there's super heavy things going on there. And then we're down in Hobart, well, in Tasmania, actually, Hobart, Devonport and Launceston from August 7, August 8 and August 9. And that's with the Beards, so that's more of a rock and roll thing that they've got going on. So it's, we'll play with anyone and everyone. It's part of the fun.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for Toehider people. We'll hear a track now from the latest record, What Kind of Creature Am I? And we'll certainly touch base with you in the next couple of weeks to sort of check in and see how things are going and, the tours and shows and any more bits and pieces to do with Melbourne's Toehider. So again, thanks for your time, Mike.
My pleasure. Good talking with you.
Likewise. What track we're going to hear one song you've actually chosen. What's it called?
This is a song called Geese-like, and this one closes the new album, What Kind of Creature Am I? And this features Jarrett Seed from a Sydney band called Trollhogan. So this is myself and himself, and I think your listeners will hear who is who.
That they will. Now, just quickly, where can fans, of course, and other listeners that are new to the band get a hold of Toehider's music? Toehider.bandcamp.com is the best place to head for all of your music Toehider needs. Alrighty, let's hear some Toehider right now. Thanks again for your time, Mike.
Cheers, man. Have a good one.
You too.